Hey, what's going on, guys? This video is just for people that don't like the way this kangertech subtank hits. I know if you watch reviews on this tank on eBay, everybody's going to say how great it is. There's really nothing negative said about it too much, but I feel like there's something negative about it, and a couple of my friends that have tried this tank out feel the same way I do, so I thought I'd put a video out there to let people know in case you're going to go buy this tank new. I want you to know, because a lot of places won't let you try tanks out. They'll just have them there for sale and you just buy it and take it home, and you're just going on what you've heard about it or reviews you might have watched. So I'm a pretty new vapor. I started about 3 months ago, and this is the first tank that I bought. A friend of mine had the subtank mini. I tried it out. I took a couple hits out of it, and it was really strong. It made me cough, and I was kind of impressed by how you would just put it in your mouth, and the draw on it was very short. You would just take a very little puff, and immediately you were overwhelmed by the vapor. So I was like, wow, that's a good thing. I mean, the last time I had tried a vaporizer was, over a year ago, and the difference in technology a year ago to now, it's a major difference. So I went and I bought that one. Brought it home, started using it for a little while, then I started realizing that I could barely take a draw off of it. It was oversaturated with the flavor. It was too warm. The coils were always popping. It wasn't a very comfortable hit for me. I wanted to blow out more vapor, and I wasn't able to because I was getting too much product in my lung, I guess you can say. I tried different air settings. I tried with different coils. I tried with the 0.5s, the 1.2s, and I was trying certain flavors in my tank that I had tried in other tanks. Like I tried a couple of Vaping Rabbit products, which are my favorite now, in a Nautilus tank. So I bought them, put them in my tank, and then I didn't like how it was in this tank. I liked how it hit better in the Nautilus. So, I mean, there's different kinds of smokers that, the lights, reds, take a bigger draw off a cigarette. Same thing goes for vapor. So, I mean, somebody might try this tank and it's no problem. I think maybe if you were a smoker before and you were smoking reds, maybe smoking 2 packs a day, you would probably use this tank and have no problem with it. I smoked a pack a day. I smoked lights. I've been smoking for about 15 years. So, and I don't know, I just didn't like it. So I ended up getting a variable voltage device because I thought maybe it was because I was only at a fixed full power on the battery I was using at the time. So I ended up getting this K-box, and even with this, that I could control the wattage on it, I still didn't like how it hit. I'd have to put it at 13 watts, which is under the recommended settings for any other coils, and it still didn't hit the way I wanted it to. So about I think it was now, as soon as the K-Box Mini came out, now they have a new redesigned coil. I'm not sure how many times they've redesigned their factory coil. I think this might be a second, maybe third revision. I found out they had the new vertical coil, so immediately I went to try and buy one. They don't have it for sale yet. It only comes with the K-Box Mini kit. I spoke to the guy. He was nice enough to sell me one of the coils off the kit. Screwed it in, tried it out. I got a video about it. I liked it. It was a much better improvement over their old coil. But after, I think it was the third week, it started leaking juice out of the air holes. So, I don't know about you, but I don't like a leaking tank. So I ended up having to take the coil out. Back to the same old thing. I was like, man, I'm just going to put this thing away and not use it anymore. This is my burner. I would use it at work. I really didn't care too much. It gets messed up. But I finally got into the rebuilding section that it came with. Now, that is the only way to go with this tank, at least for me anyways. Once I started rebuilding my own heads, now I like the tank. A couple weeks ago, if you would ask me about this tank, I would tell you don't buy it. I don't like it. It's a piece of shit. But with the rebuildable head on it now that I'm making my own coils, it's hitting a hell of a lot better. It's still warm. It's still got a lot of flavor to it. It's just not so oversaturated. Something about the coil design of the kangertech I just don't like. I feel like they didn't really engineer it too good. they just slap something together just to throw out product out there. And I think kangertech does that a lot. A lot of revisions on some of their products. I wish they would just, you know, wait, get it right the first time, and not make people buy multiple things. For instance, the rebuildable head on this, I have a subtank plus, which it comes with the second version of the rebuildable head. The first version, you actually had to change this top piece of your tank because it'd take a different chimney. I think the screw on the top was the lid was taller, so it wouldn't fit in there with the regular coil chimney. So you had to do that. Now you don't have to do that anymore. But guess what? Now there is a version 3 of this too that has round holes cut in the side, and it also has. It's a 3-piece design. You unscrew the top of it, and then there's a barrel, and then you unscrew the barrel, and then you have where you connect your coil and the base in the bottom. Problem is, with this one, once you take it out of here and you try to unscrew, let's say, the barrel, it will be too hard and you won't be able to unscrew it. And you have a very small lip at the bottom of this. I guess I should take it apart so you can see it. It's hard to take the barrel out. I actually had to grab it with a pair of channel locks, and I ended up squeezing the barrel a little bit. Let's see if you can see that. So you unscrew this top piece right here, and then that's where your coil is in there. Now, the problem is, when you try and get this barrel piece out of here and you try to unscrew it, it'll get stuck. And you could try putting something through these air holes, but then you know what? It unscrews this out of here. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. The new version, it doesn't screw in. I think it just drops on. It has a little tightening screw on the side of the barrel, so that you don't have that problem anymore. So again, this is the 3rd revision of the rebuildable coil. kangertech, just get it right the first time. Don't just make a product and throw it out there for people to buy, and then have to make a revision, you know, just a month down the line or something like that. You know, I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I feel like I should be able to send this into kangertech, and then they send me the new one, because I just bought this thing. It's ridiculous. Just get it right the first time. I mean, it's cool that they probably listen to what people are saying out there and, you know, try and make the product better, but I mean, this is something they should have noticed if they would have, you know, tried their product out a little bit and put it through some test. But, that being said, I love the rebuildable. If you have this tank and you could, when you buy the mini and you buy the plus, it comes with it. I believe the nano, it does not fit, so you have a nano, you're kind of screwed. You can't stick the rebuildable in there. But if you have this one or the mini, it comes with it. It's in the box. I got a buddy of mine that he has it, and he's never tried it out. I mean, he's never made a coil, so I'm sure doesn't know how to do it. But you know what? There's YouTube videos. There's a bunch of videos on how to make your own coils. So I mean, it's fairly simple. But once you do it a couple of times, you start getting you get used to it, and it becomes easier every time. It also depends what kind of coil jig you're using and all that kind of stuff, but this is the way to go. Not to mention, I use heavy VG liquids, so I was burning through coils pretty quickly. And I mean, I was actually burning through a coil a week. And I don't know. I'm trying to save money here. I'm not trying to spend as much money as I did when I was smoking cigarettes too. I mean, it's obviously healthier. I've gotten into it. You know, I like different flavors and stuff. But yeah, you want to try and waste as little money as possible. So rebuilding your own coils is definitely a way of saving a lot of money on coils. Because I bought a 5-pack. I think it was like $17. Didn't last very long. And I didn't like how they hit, so I actually like how it hits now with the rebuildable. I'll take a quick little puff out of it here. I have it set at 30 watts right now, which with the old coils, I would never put this at 30 watts. 20 was max. So, let's try it out here. It's not too bad. I mean, I definitely get more vapor production out of other tanks, but this compared to how it was hitting before is a major difference, and it's still got really strong flavor to it. The juice I'm using here is Skyline from the Juice Society, and it's real nice flavor. It's kind of citrusy. Once you blow out the vapor, I feel this coating of citrus around the inside of my mouth. And again, I've only been vaping for maybe about 3 months now, so I am a newbie. So you might make the same mistake I did and go buy this tank and then take it home and start using factory coils and not like how it hits and be like, well, I bought it and I'm kind of stuck with it, which is, you know, how I felt. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you start building your own coils, you're going to be saving money. It's going to taste a hell of a lot better than it does with the factory coils. So it's a win-win situation. I was already going to put this thing away, just put it there as part of the collection, not really use it anymore, keep it as backup. But now that I got the rebuildable head in there and I'm using it, I'm liking it a hell of a lot better. So I recommend, if you have this tank and you have the rebuildable section, you watch a couple of YouTube videos on it. Go buy some wire and start rolling up your own coils. Try it out. You'll thank me. It's going to taste a hell of a lot better than it does with the factory coils. Not to mention, you're not giving your money away on a monthly basis to kangertech buying new coils when you can just make them yourself. I mean, you buy a roll of Kenthal wire. I think I paid not even $15 for several yards, which I'll have enough there to make coils for this tank, my Zephyrus tank, all my rebuildable tanks. I'll be able to make coils for it with that wire. I'm not just buying a coil for one tank and then I gotta go buy a coil for another tank. So if you buy multiple tanks, you definitely want to try and get something with a rebuildable head and get into rebuilding it, because there's nothing like smoking out of a coil you made yourself. You know, I mean, the first couple of times you make it, you're going to have problems, whether you might put too much cotton or not enough cotton, which happened to me a couple of times. I didn't really watch YouTube videos. I just, you know, started trying it out on my own. But if you go on YouTube, it'll show you videos on exactly how to make the coil, how much cotton to use, where to place the cotton so it doesn't clog up your juice holes, so it doesn't overflow and start leaking. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. If you're going to buy a kangertech, don't buy the Nano, because the Nano, you can't fit the rebuildable head on there. And you definitely want to use the rebuildable head, so I suggest buying the Mini or buying the Plus. Oh, and another thing, I bought the Plus just because it was the biggest one. I liked how it looked. But if you're going to be changing flavors constantly and you're only going to have one tank, I don't recommend this tank, because this tank holds 7 mils. And it takes me a while to go through 7 mils. I might get tired of the flavor before I finish the 7 mils. Then I gotta empty the tank out, clean it. Now what I'm gonna do is, because I also had this problem when I was changing flavors. You know, the coil tastes like the other one. Do I wash it? Do I just let it burn out the old stuff? I was going through the problem that once I changed liquids, it would take a while for the new liquid to actually start tasting. So when you're into rebuildables, you can open up the coil and just pull the cotton out and just re-wick it, and that coil is going to taste like the new juice from the first hit. So that's a major plus too if you like to change juices. But like I said, this tank is kind of big. If you're changing juices on a normal basis really quickly, like if you get tired of the juice quickly, I would definitely just go with the Mini. It holds less, so I fill this up and I never go through the whole tank. I end up emptying it out and putting a different flavor on there. And another thing I wanted to talk about, the kangertech tank, once it's got the coil in it, if you look, let me see if you can see this. The juice hole, this is where the juice goes into the coil. Once you screw this on there, it kind of leaves a gap between the bottom of the tank and your juice hole, so you don't want to let it empty out too much and let it get below this, because you'll still have juice in the tank, but it won't be getting into the cotton because the holes are set so high, which I think that's an issue that they should have designed it differently. I don't think this coil is well designed. If you look at let me see if I have one around here. An Aspire coil, the holes, even though when you look at it here, it looks like they're the same height, this coil sits in the base of the Atlantis tank a lot lower. So the bottom of the hole is right at the bottom of the tank. So you're always getting juice in there till the bitter end. With this one, once it gets to a certain point, you don't want to leave it. You want to fill it up. So yeah, that's all I can say for now. You guys got any questions about it? Let me know. I've had this tank for a couple of months, and you know, I'm not sponsored by any company. I'll give you an honest opinion. I feel like a lot of YouTube videos, they'll just grace the product with, oh, it's great, this and that. Yeah, of course, because, you know, kangertech says it to you for free, and they're going to keep sending you free stuff if you keep saying good stuff about the tank or whatever product it may be. And that being said, I'll say another thing about this K-Box real quick, so I don't have to do another video on it. This is my second one at work. I work out in the sun. So I had set it aside somewhere. It wasn't in direct sunlight, but as I was working, the sun moved. Maybe there was a cloud, I don't know. It got really hot. When I picked it up, I had to put it down. It was burning hot like it had it in an oven. So I took the battery out to the tank, I let it cool down, and once I turned it back on, it was blinking. It wouldn't fire. So I checked it out. I checked the positive pin on the top was showing continuity with the ground, which means positive and ground were touching, which that's not supposed to happen. So I opened it up, and inside the 510 connection, where the copper pin is for your positive, it's got a little rubber grommet to isolate the ground from the positive. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. And I guess from the heat it melted. It broke, which is kind of pretty bad. I mean, literally I just had it sitting there and it broke on its own. It wasn't in direct sunlight. It got hot. This actually happened also. I left it in my car and I got down somewhere, and from the sun that was just coming through the window, it got extremely hot. So that's something you want to think about if you have the K-Box. Don't let it get too close to heat, because you might have that same problem. And luckily, I hadn't had it for too long, so I was able to exchange it and it gave me a new one. But, you know, they started asking me questions if I had dropped it and this and that, and it was like, you know. But, got the new one. This one I'll definitely make sure not to put it anywhere near the sun. And that's it, guys. Take it easy.